Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 40 Thanksgiving Dollar Tree DIYs for you from the Crafty Vault. I have a little bit of everything in today's video. I have traditional Thanksgiving, coastal Thanksgiving, a little bit of fall, and I even have tier trays for both Thanksgiving and fall. I hope you enjoy. You guys have been asking for some Thanksgiving DIYs, and the first one we're going to start with one of these little Dollar Tree gourds. This is the largest gourd they had there. I wish it was a little bit larger, but it actually turned out perfect for this. So I'm also going to use some of the fall eucalyptus they have from Dollar Tree. And I picked out like the maroon, the green, and the red just to kind of mix it up. One bunch of each one. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this little gourd into a little gourd turkey. And these are going to be the turkey feathers. So I want like the stem of the gourd to point front. I think it kind of looks a little bit like a beak. And so that's what we're going to use it as. So I'm just going to grab my red ones here and just kind of scatter those out. I have a total of 5. So I did one in the middle, one on each side, and then I can go back with the other 2 and go about halfway. And I'm just trying to do it on the back where they'll fan out like turkey feathers. So that's what it looks like so far. You could totally all do the same color if you wanted to. I thought it would be more colorful if I mixed it up a little bit. So for the maroon, the dark or maroon brown ones, I only did 4 so I could kind of scatter those out. And then for the green ones, I go a little bit further down. And I'm going to go ahead and use all 5 of those, just kind of spacing those out evenly between all the different colors. So they all kind of like lay like in a fan, nice and full. And you can do this with any like greenery. I think this looks really pretty with the eucalyptus. And this is how it looks so far. I was thinking maybe I should do something to the stem of it. Maybe change up the color of it, and it doesn't want to stand up. It's a little back heavy there. So I am going to use one of these little wood slices from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to make a simple little base for him. So he'll be, won't be tipping over. It'll be nice and strong. So I just flip it over, and I'm just going to put a nail right through it. And that way I'll have something that I can actually pierce the foam gourd with. And then I thought for stability, I might as well do 2. So that's where we are. I'm going to use those nails in combination with hot glue. And we're going to secure the little gourd to it. I thought it would look really rustic and cute to do the little wood slice. I love decorating with those. They're so fun. And I just glue that in place, our little turkey here. I think it turned out so cute. I was really happy with it. I was really kind of struggling to, I wanted something that would last year to year. So I wanted to use like a fake gourd, but you could totally make this with a real gourd too. And you could probably make a larger one. But this is what we have so far for our little gourd turkey. And then I am going to paint the beak of it with this golden sunset color. These come off pretty easily and they're easier to paint if you just go ahead and pop them off. And I'm just trying to cover up that bright green stem with the yellow, that golden color. So it is going to take several coats to kind of cover that up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I did about 3 coats here. Once I get that dry, I'm just going to go ahead and poke that right back in, right where I got it. And I'm trying to make sure that I don't get any paint on my gourd. And touch it up here and there for where I touched it. And that is all there is to it. This is our little gourd turkey. I think it's super sweet for Thanksgiving, super creative as well. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. What do you guys think about the little gourd turkey? This is how it's made. And it was great that I could just shove the little eucalyptus straight into the foam gourd, made it really easy to construct without having to glue anything in place. And this is how it looks. I really like using all the different colors. I really thought about, I was going to make more than one of these, but I could only find one of these gourds at Dollar Tree today. So we're just going to have one of these little turkeys, but I think it turned out so cute. Super fun. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to hype this video. I am going to use one of these little bamboo rings from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the smaller one. And then I picked out 5 packages of rope, and I think that was exactly what I ended up using on this one. This is your wider rope, not the real skinny kind from Dollar Tree, but the brown rope. And we are going to make a DIY cornucopia with this, and I'm so excited with how it turned out. Now to start with, I just loop the end like that. And it doesn't matter if you still have your tape on it because you're not going to be able to see this part. And I just glue that part together and then just start wrapping from the end around. This is going to be the very tip of the tail of my cornucopia. And we are going to fill this up with all kinds of beach and fun coastal decor. So I wrapped it around another time there, and then I added hot glue to my little loop that I'm using kind of as just a starter piece and glued that right around too. Now I'm going to kind of, the tail part's going to be kind of skinny like this. I just kind of keep wrapping. I'm hot gluing it to the rope in the center, but also to each other because I don't want any gaps. I want them to sit right next to each other. And we are going to build the entire cornucopia this way. So as you can see, as I'm doing it, I'm kind of going a little bit wider each time. And I can do that by just putting the hot glue towards the outside of the rope and then wrapping it around. I'm also curving it a little bit as I wrap so I could get like that little curved point right there. If you ever notice any of your rope is not stuck together, just put a little bit of hot glue back in there until you get a tight bond in between each one. You do have to glue it all the way around. So not only does this project take a lot of rope, it also takes a lot of glue. Now I thought if I put a little piece of wire, this is some thicker wire from Dollar Tree, in the tip, I can make it moldable later if I needed to curve this back up. And I thought that might help me kind of keep a curved shape here at first. So I just cut off a little piece, put that down in there, and then that's a nice thick wire, so I should be able to bend it later if I need to. And then I want to go wider and wider, so I'm making sure that I do the hot glue towards the edges of the rope, gluing that to itself like that. Now I'm going to have lots of starts and stops with the rope today since I'm making a large cornucopia with this, and you just try to hide it the best that you can. Just trying to get as tight of a joint as you can in between two pieces and just continue on. You can always go back later and add a little bit more hot glue to that and work with it until you can kind of blend that in a little bit. And I'm kind of using my wire as a guide too. So I know kind of exactly how much I want to curve it because this part is really important for the curved part of the cornucopia to give it that traditional cornucopia shape. And as you can see, I am really going around the outsides now with that hot glue and making it larger and larger. My goal is to get it large enough to fit inside that little wood bamboo ring from the Dollar Tree. I thought that would give it structure since we're not using any kind of chicken wire or anything like that. That will give it structure to make sure the mouth of it is round and stays open, but it's just a matter of building it out. And I think this turned out really cute. I've done like cornucopias and stuff before, but I usually use like thrifted items and stuff like that. And I really love how this one turned out. It was so fun. It does take a little time. I think I spent an hour in actual time making this. So be prepared for that. But It is so fun. Now, if you didn't want to use it for coastal Thanksgiving, you could totally use it for a traditional Thanksgiving theme too. Um, and put like fruits and different kinds of traditional like cornucopia stuff inside. And that would be really cute. Maybe some little pumpkins and stuff like that. Now, here is my next package. Again, I just try to blend in where I start and stop and just continue on gluing this to each other. Just have to make sure that you get hot glue on it. I was pretty fast that I could go all the way around with like one swoop without my glue drying before I could kind of lay that down. And that kind of sped up the process a little bit. So I would just go all the way around. Now, once I got to this point, I wanted it to be wider and wider and wider, right? So it could be big enough for that wood ring, but I don't necessarily want the bottom part to be any wider because I want it to lay flat like this. So what I'm doing now is I'm specifically putting the glue in the middle on the bottom, but then I am going around the outside perimeter with the glue all the way else, all like the sides, the top, if you know what I mean, to try to make it bigger and bigger, but not make the bottom any wider, to kind of give it like kind of a flatter edge down there. And we are getting there. Let's go ahead and open another package. And the bend was not perfect for me on this, but I think it definitely has that fun cornucopia shape. So again, I just start and stop. I'm really not lining those up on any particular side. It's going to have joints here and there on it, just the way it works when you are working with the rope. I keep measuring with my little wood ring there too to see how big, how much bigger I need it to be. And the rope itself is giving you all the structure. So anytime you see any gaps or anything that's not holding, I would just go back and fill that in with hot glue as soon as you can. And this is getting about the right size. So let's finish off this piece of rope and see if it's large enough. And I think that is big enough. I'm gonna just kind of, rearrange this, kind of feel it out, make sure everything is, shaped exactly the way I want it to be. You can shape it slightly. And then the little bamboo ring, I'm gonna wrap that around the edge like that where I can attach it to it. So I think that's gonna work. So I do a bead of hot glue all the way around. And I'm gonna put the wood ring on there to glue that on. We're gonna cover that up with more Dollar Tree rope. I do want it to be kind of flat here on the end where I started and stopped though. So I am gonna have to trim up that last piece of rope to kind of blend that in. And so I just do that with my scissors by trimming that off. And I have that piece glued on, so that provides a little bit of structure. But then if I go around it with more Dollar Tree rope, then I can like finish that off and give it like a finished edge. And it should be a little bit larger around the perimeter here. So I think that's gonna work. I just start right here in the front, right on the bottom, hot gluing kind of the rope to itself right there. And we are just going to go around, and the first row, we just hot glue to that first row of rope that we have there until we go all the way around. And then we can just start looping that around. This time we're gluing it to the wood. And then just keep that spiral fashion going until we cover up all of the wood ring, and it just provides a nice bit of structure there to a pretty much structureless cornucopia. And I'm pretty much going to use all my rope, but I might as well make the seam on the bottom. So I'm going to cut it off there, hot gluing that tip down. Isn't that cool? I think it turned out really fun. I was really happy with it. Now you are going to have to clean up any excess hot glue. I like to use my heat gun to kind of melt it down because sometimes I get a little crazy with too much hot glue, but I don't really want any of the hot glue to be visible. I just really want that beautiful rope to show through. And I think that's just a really fun variation of the cornucopia, and it's definitely coastal for sure since it's made out of rope. I also go back and find any of my little joints in there, make sure they're tight, and hot glue them if they need it. That's what it looks like on the inside. So that's one reason I wanted to do it this way. So it would be pretty inside and out in case you can see in there. And I have a few areas I just need to glue just to make them a little bit tighter. I'm pretty much checking the whole thing for integrity. And then we can fill this up with some fun beachy supplies. Whenever I work with rope, though, I like to burn off all the fuzzies. I think it always just cleans it up a little bit. And the rope from the Dollar Tree can be a little bit rough. So I'm just going to do that by taking a lighter all around it to burn all of those off. Now, if you don't have Dollar Tree rope and you have like a thicker brown rope, this project would be even easier because, of course, you know, the thicker the rope, the less you're going to have to wrap it around and glue it to itself. So probably would speed the process up a little bit, but I definitely wanted to do a Dollar Tree version. So I picked out a lot of beachy items and we can see what we can fill this fun cornucopia up with. I'm going to start with some of the Dollar Tree Spanish moss. I think that's going to look good inside in there. And it's going to provide a nice filler. And I want some of it like spilling out of the cornucopia. And we're just going to fill it up with pumpkins and some beachy items. You could use seashells, gourds, whatever you have. I was kind of thinking, do I want to do like the sweater pumpkins? And I think that's going to look cool because I have some great colors that's going to go with the beachy decor. This first one was on a pick from the Dollar Tree, but I loved it because it was like a light blue, a little sweater pumpkin. And so I just use my heat gun to try to melt the glue so I can get that cutie off and we can just sit that right inside now. That's going to be like my largest one. And then they also have these little blue sweater pumpkins from the Dollar Tree that have the little clips on the bottom of them, which is great because I can just clip that into the Spanish moss to keep that right in place. And I'm trying to do like different colors. So I also picked up some of like the lighter burlap ones too. I do want to add some leaves too though. So I thought these little burlap oak leaves from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. I don't really need the wire to be on them though, so I'm just peeling the wire off the back and we can kind of have those coming out of the cornucopia as well. It's going to provide like a fun little fall touch. And the burlap pattern definitely goes with the beachy feel. So I kind of put one on each side. You can kind of just lay them in there like I'm doing. I do hot glue a few items in place just to kind of make sure they stay together. And then this was the other color I was talking about, and it does have a clip on the bottom too. So I can just pop that in there, clip that to the Spanish moss, and that'll help keep that in place too. And that pretty much fills up the cornucopia, but of course I wanted to do some beachy items too. So we're gonna keep like kind of filling this out. I thought one of these sand dollars from the Dollar Tree would be really cute. Just trying to figure out how to get that to fit. And then I'm going to do another one of those little burlap fall leaves to kind of make it come out a little bit more right here in front. Because again, I do want it to look like a cornucopia, like spilling out. But I do want to try to keep the items kind of attached to each other if I can. Now, since I have the leaves coming out, I kind of want the Spanish moss to come out too. So I just fill it in a little bit more with Spanish moss and then kind of pile some like falling out of the cornucopia too that I can attach to that leaf there with a little hot glue to kind of keep that all together. And just making sure it's nice and full with the Spanish moss while I have it out. Then for the sand dollar, I couldn't really get it to fit in the cornucopia, so I thought we could kind of attach it to the side like this where you can see it. So I just do a little bead of hot glue and glue that to the side of my cornucopia. If you want to change out your cornucopia every year, you're probably going to want to avoid hot gluing it to it, but I will probably leave this the same because I think it turned out so cute and beachy. So I wanted to do like a variety. So I've got like the different colors of blues and tans, the burlap, the Spanish moss. I thought, of course, a Dollar Tree starfish would be really cute too. Just trying to figure out where to put it. And then like just a seashell from the beach. I had like a little bleached seashell. I just kind of sit inside where you can kind of see that. And I also hot glue down the larger pumpkin to kind of keep it in place because that one did not have a clip on the bottom. And we're going to hot glue the little starfish, like right here, like it has fallen out of the cornucopia, by gluing that to the little burlap leaf. And then I thought maybe one more of those little burlap leaves over here to kind of make it a little bit more symmetrical. And then I can glue another one of those seashells to that. I don't want it too much stuff, but I definitely want it to look full and beachy for fall. So since I did the Spanish moss underneath the other leaf, I did this one as well, just by gluing a little tiny piece of it underneath there. And I think this looks really fun. What do you guys think about my little coastal cornucopia for Thanksgiving? This is how it turned out. I think it's so fun. It really does have that cornucopia shape. It's nice and large. You could sit this again on your Thanksgiving table as part of the center of your table, but you could lay this around anywhere, a coffee table, even in your kitchen if you have room for it. I'm going to combine a couple leaf signs from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to thrift flip another sign. I got this great solid wood sign on sale for like $1.50 at Goodwill. I used to shop at Goodwill a lot more because they would do these sales. Now they only do the sales if you pay for like the Goodwill gold membership or whatever, I think. Maybe I should pay for it to see if it's worth it, but I haven't been shopping there very much since they quit doing their half price. Because I loved the half price on housewares. I could get great signs like this to thrift flip. And it does have words on it. I want a blank canvas. So again, I'm just going to go over the entire sign. And I'm just using some ivory acrylic paint, something cheap, just to give me a blank canvas. And I want to cover up all of the words on there. If you're thrifting something that's going to have words on it like that, especially like white with like dark letters on it like that, you can tell like one coat is really not going to cover it all the way. So it is going to require a couple coats at least on the words. Then for the fall Dollar Tree signs, I picked up a couple leaf signs. We're going to combine them together and make a really fun display. So this is the slatted leaf sign. This is one of my favorites for fall decor. Now, do your Dollar Tree still have all of their fall decor out? Most of mine do, but I went to one yesterday that has moved it all to the little square display that they have like right when you enter the store. So I don't know if that's all that they have left. It is a smaller store, so I know they need to make room for Christmas stuff, but I was like, hey, you have 2 aisles of things of Halloween stuff. Where's all the fall stuff? And then I am just going to stain the whole thing with Antique Wax by Waverly, including the boards there in the back, wiping off the excess with a paper towel. And I want to hang it like, hanging down, upside down kind of. And I just put hot glue on both of the slats there on the back. And we're going to attach that directly to our thrifted sign. And that's going to kind of be a middle sign because I'm going to use a third sign here that's Dollar Tree metal sign that says fall is my favorite color. It's got that great light green plaid print that we've been using a lot today. So I thought this would be perfect. Just going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit, take off the little hanger and the raffia bow that was on there, just to kind of leave just the metal sign itself. And even though it's not shaped exactly the same as the leaf behind it, I think I can make it work well together. Now I do want to cover up the holes in the leaf sign, the slatted leaf sign, and I'm just going to do that with some thumbtacks again. I really couldn't get all the way through to the bottom sign there, so I actually just kind of hot glued mine in place. But it kind of gives you a decorative touch, and I always like to cover the holes in my projects. And I think that looks pretty cool. So now we can attach the little fall is my favorite color metal leaf here to the front of that. And I think that the layering of the fall leaf signs is really fun. I was trying to decide how I was going to attach it on here. And so I start with just some twine and I wrap that around the back leaf here, lining up this where I want it to be. I do use a little hot glue right down the center of the sign, but I want to kind of reinforce that to make that stronger by wrapping it with that twine. So then I just tie a knot tying the leaf sign on, but it's also going to be decor because I tie a little bow on the end of it, and then I can use that to cover up the hole here in the top of the metal sign. So it's functional and decorative. Just going to burn off any fuzzies on that real quick. And I think this sign is super sweet. Fall is my favorite color. It was really easy to put together, and it's going to look great with the rest of my Thanksgiving decor. And again, it just says fall, so you could totally leave this one up. It's just a fun idea of how to craft with those Dollar Tree leaf signs. Especially the smaller ones like this, because I made it a large piece like this to hang in my home, and it gives a lot of punch. Now, I know that the fall items like this from the Dollar Tree can be a little hit or miss right now. You might have to go to a couple of stores. Mine have like 3 seasons at once right now. We're going to make a really cute little thankful planter box. And we're going to do that with 2 of these long signs from Dollar Tree. I found these. They are the natural wood, which is great because I can just stain that a darker shade. I don't really want that light wood, and I love the pumpkin cutout. So the first thing I did was just cut the holes off the top of the sign because I want to use all the rest of this sign to make a really cute little planter box. So I don't want those holes to interfere with my design or to have to fill those later. So I just cut those off with my saw. And then I'm just measuring about 6 inches down and cutting off the pumpkins from the sign. Now I'm going to have those pumpkins in my design because those are going to be the ends of my planter box. So cuts pretty good with my saw, so just giving it a quick sand here. And like I said, I wanted to change the color. I didn't think that this color of wood was very warm, but you still have that wood grain, so you could easily stain it with some antique wax by Waverly and get like this warm wood look while maintaining that beautiful wood grain. So I am just using a paper towel to wipe off the excess. You know I love Antique Wax by Waverly because it's a beautiful stain and it dries quickly. And when you're crafting, you're trying to get it done. So I'm going to go ahead and stain the front, the back, and both side pieces with that Antique Wax by Waverly and clean up my mess. I love crafting on a silicone mat. I got my silicone mat actually on Amazon. I always have that linked in my shop below. I get a lot of questions about that. I love it. And then I am going to decorate it with this little metal thankful word. Now, this was not necessarily in the fall aisle at Dollar Tree. This was actually just in the Crafter Square location, but I think they have a couple different versions of it. This one I thought was nice and long and would be perfect for a planter box. It does have holes in it so that you can hang it, but I'm just going to kind of ignore those. That's fine. I don't really want it to be the galvanized metal look though, so I want to paint it. So to try to get the paint to stick to the metal a little bit easier or better, I'm just adding some Mod Podge all over a thin coat and drying that just so the paint kind of has something to stick to, because if you've ever painted these metal pieces from the Dollar Tree, they scratch pretty easily. And so then I'm going over it with just ivory acrylic, just trying to carefully go over it so the paint like stays on it, doesn't kind of get rubbed off. And it is going to require a couple coats. I thought that the white thankful word would pop against that brown wood and look really pretty, but like nice neutral colors. Going to be doing a lot of wood DIYs today for the Thanksgiving DIYs, and this is one of my favorite. So now that I have it dry, I can go ahead and attach my little metal thankful word here to the front of my planter box, just by adding a little hot glue here and there. Hopefully that it won't come out too much, but enough to make sure that it is good and attached. And hot glue and metal doesn't always work well together. You might want to switch up a different kind of glue, but actually it held up for me just fine. So once I get it on there, I can kind of see, any of the paint that's on the sides. I just clean that up real quick. I'm not going to worry about staining the inside of the box because you're totally not going to be able to see it. Now it's just a matter of putting this together. So since I cut these the same exact length as the width of the board, it's going to fit on there perfectly. So I'm going to use the little mini Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue one flat on my side piece like that. And then on this piece, I'm going to glue it sideways. I don't go all the way to the top because I don't want you to be able to see it. But that way I have like a larger piece to attach to the side and a larger piece to attach to the front of it. So then I just go ahead and glue that, trying to keep like a 90-degree angle, trying to keep everything square there. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here on the other side, doing one flat against the side and then one on its side. And I've built many boxes like this. It totally works. It's just an easy way to do some building with those Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. Now, as you can see, it's kind of not really that square, but once I go ahead and attach the other side, it will square this out. So same thing. I do one flat and one on its side. The one on the bottom, I'm lining up directly with the bottom because that's going to help me attach the bottom of my box too. And then I can go ahead and kind of stretch that out so that I can glue the back panel on. So I'm going to do one side at a time. Once I get this side glued on, I can come over here and glue this side down as well. And this is how it turned out. I think that I got to this point and I was like, you know what? I didn't plan for what I was going to do for the bottom of it, but I do have more of those signs, so I think that's going to work perfectly. Another thing that I've done when I've made planter boxes like this is use those little plastic cutting boards from the Dollar Tree that are real thin, and that works too if you need to just kind of have a bottom here. But I'm going to go ahead and cut another one of those signs down. So I used a total of 3 of the long signs to make this. And this piece, it wouldn't matter if you had the pumpkin one or not. They have these for every season because you just want the wood piece. And I just glue that on all 4 of the Jenga blocks that I have there in the corners. And it's not going to give me like a completely sealed box here, but I'm going to try to seal it in the best that I can with a little bit of hot glue, just so it keeps that square shape. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, trying to seal up that border. And I love those little pink things that you put on your fingers from the Dollar Tree to protect you from hot glue. It works great. So there is our little thankful box. Now it's time to fill it in with some things that will look like fall. But first, I want to cover the little pumpkin cutouts with something cute. So I'm going to use white burlap. This is a white burlap roll that I got on Amazon. It is in my shop, but you know, Dollar Tree has white burlap now too, if you're lucky. So I just cut out a piece larger than the little pumpkin cutout, and then I just hot glue that onto the inside of the side of my panel, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This gives it a really beautiful texture from the outside. It matches that ivory that we used for the thankful word, and it covers up the hole because you don't really want to be able to see inside the planter box because it's just going to be filled with foam and stuff. So this is what we have so far. There is my beautiful white burlap pumpkins on the side. And I love incorporating the shape cutouts like that in my design. I've made like candle holders and stuff out of these long sides too. It's always so fun. Now it's time to fill it up. I'm going to use a couple of these little floral foam blocks from the Dollar Tree and set them side by side. It is going to fill up this box nicely. Not super tall though, but I think we can make it work because I just want to make the planter box look full. I'm not even going to take them out of the package. You're not going to be able to see them. And then I found some great fall greenery at Dollar Tree, and we're just going to start filling this up. I like these. These are like, I guess, the Dollar Tree version of wheat. And in my last Thanksgiving video, I was able to find real wheat at my grocery store. Some of you guys asked what grocery store I shop at because they've never seen wheat at their grocery store, but Publix, and they have it with like their pumpkins and stuff at the front of the store for seasonal. And then I also used corn husk in that video, and I actually got those because, you know, people make tamales with those. Now to fill it up. I have a lot of Spanish moss and I have a lot of area to fill. So I go ahead and just fill that up with Spanish moss. You could always, boost up, your floral foam if you wanted to with like newspaper or something like that, if you didn't want to use as much material. But I don't mind using this much Spanish moss because I can always reuse it if I need to. And I did mix in a couple different kinds there. I mixed in the brown too, just to give it a little bit more color. I also picked up some of these Dollar Tree flowers. It's kind of hard to see there, but these are called the dahlia bush, I think. And I really like this color, the ivories. I think this is going to go great for fall. It's a little tall, so I'm going to go ahead and like trim that down a little bit, but I'm going to leave it all attached just to make it easier and put that down at the end. As you can see, I used 2 wheat. I kind of centered those, and you kind of want to use an odd number when you're arranging stuff like this. And so I did one of each one of those at the end, and then I can do some in the middle. I'm going to switch it up to a different type of flower. This is the hydrangeas from Dollar Tree, and they're a very similar color, a little bit more white. And I'm leaving those all attached too, just shortening the stem on those by cutting those down and arranging those like that. I felt like I needed a few more. So these are not fall, they're actually the summer sunflowers from the Dollar Tree, but I love the colors on them. I love the white flowers with the big brown centers. And so since they're not summer, I don't want all of that bright green in my project. I just take off the flowers and then take off all of the green leaves so that I can kind of hide that in there. You'll see the beautiful flowers that are going to go with everything, but you're not going to see that bright green because you don't really want that for Thanksgiving decor. And I had a second bunch. I'm going to go ahead and center that right there in the back to make it really nice and full. And here it is. We have our little thankful planter box. I think this is so fun and welcoming. This will look great inside or outside your home. This will look really cute on a porch. I'm a big fan of faux flowers, mainly because I don't have a green thumb at all. But this is how it turned out. Our little thankful planter box. I made it with 3 of the long pumpkin signs from the Dollar Tree. I'm so glad that I decided to stain that. I think that's so beautiful and warm. It's going to look great with Thanksgiving decor, but I also really like the neutral colors. Here, I also wanted to show you what it looks like from the side with a white burlap pumpkin. And, some of those flowers too also are made out of burlap, so they give it a really beautiful feel. And the Dollar Tree wheat is, something that you can use if you can't find the real stuff. So this DIY, we're going to turn one of these little galvanized metal pots that I just got at the Dollar Tree and some of these little metallic salad plates into a really cute coastal pilgrim hat. So I thought these plates were the perfect size. These are the party plates kind of in the wedding section at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use a couple of them just because they're thin, but I like the fact they're already metallic. Because we are going to leave the galvanized metal finish on the little pilgrim hat. I think it's going to go with the coastal feel. The only challenge of this pot is getting that super sticky label off the bottom of it, but I think we're going to have success here. I'm going to use it, galvanized metal, unfinished, and then using the twine that's wrapped around the top of the pot. When I have it upside down like this, that's going to act like the strap on the little pilgrim hat. So I thought this was going to be an easy DIY, and it turned out really cute. Now for the buckle, I just picked out some felt. I had this beautiful light blue felt left over from Easter, and so I'm just going to use a tiny little square of that to cut out a little buckle. I was trying to think of something to use for this, and I really wanted like a soft beachy blue color. So I think this is going to be perfect, and it's easy to work with too. You just have to kind of cut a smaller square inside your larger square, and you can just do that by folding it. And then it's going to leave you a cute little square cut out that you can use for a buckle. And I love the fact that the twine is already on this pot. It just saved me a step. But if you only have like a galvanized metal bucket that doesn't have the twine wrapped around it, you could easily recreate that by wrapping yours with twine. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue mine on. I don't want it to overlap the bottom too much, but I want the opening to be covered up by rope there on the inside. And then gluing the top on as well. Now, the galvanized metal finish is kind of like a blotchy metal finish. So I'm going to do a little bit of a makeover on the salad plates to kind of give them that blotchy metallic look too, so that it will coordinate a little bit better with the pot. But that's what the buckle looks like. And the twine looks pretty good, but I thought we could always burn off the fuzzies a little bit here to clean it up. And mine wasn't 100% attached either. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue that one back down. And I think we're finished with that part of the Pilgrim hat. Now, when you sit it on there, as you can see, there is some of the white plate still visible, but I'm going to fill that all in with Decor. So I think that's going to be fine. And again, those plates from the Dollar Tree are pretty flimsy. So I actually have 2 of them back to back just to make it a little bit thicker. You get a whole bunch in that package. Now, to get that fun galvanized metal look, I just take some gray acrylic and just kind of blotch it all over. And then I just kind of dry it on there by dabbing like a paper towel all over to kind of give it that, fun look. I thought maybe it was a little bit too distressed. So I followed that up with a baby wipe, and it did kind of like blend it in a little bit better. But in the end, I did get that look that I was going for. I kind of wish that I would have done this on the top of the hat too, because, as you can see, it's kind of shiny up there too. I might go back and do that now. Now, I told you I was using 2, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue them together just to make sure it stays together. That hot glue is hot. Did you see that smoke coming out from there? And then glue those together, and then we can just simply glue the pot on. You could do the top of your Pilgrim hat with like other things too, like a sand bucket or something like that. But I really love the fact that I didn't have to paint this or anything. And I think that metallic look like that goes great with coastal decor. So I just glued it right to the center of the plate. And again, I know we have that little white ring around it, but we can fill that in with some Dollar Tree moss and some beachy items. So for the moss, we're going to use the brown floral moss. This is kind of messy, but it's that really small moss. So I don't need like a very large stripe of it around here. I just need enough to kind of cover that white area that I don't really want you to see. So I just put a bead of hot glue there and just start pushing little tiny amounts on this all the way around. Now I'm just going to decorate the perimeter of my Pilgrim hat, but you could always go in and decorate the very top of yours too if you'd like. I did think about doing that. So just a little bead of hot glue, just a little bit, a tiny bit of moss, because I still want you to see like the brim of the hat. And then I grabbed some things to decorate it with. I thought I was going to be able to do pumpkins and stuff like that, but I didn't really have any pumpkins that were quite small enough. So we're going to kind of fill it in with some little tiny beachy things. I thought a starfish would be perfect. I actually have a real one here from Amazon. It's pretty much the same size as the one from Dollar Tree. You could totally use that one if you have it, but I just want to kind of glue it to the side of the buckle so you can still see the buckle. So I just do a couple dots of hot glue to glue that kind of standing up. It's kind of a large piece, but it's kind of a statement piece there for coastal decor. And then also a little glue here on the tip just to make sure that stays in place. Now, so far, what I'm not liking about that tip on the hot glue gun is I'm getting a lot of stringing, and it is kind of stringing glue on my workstation. It did get better the longer that I crafted, but I'm not sure why that was happening. I might have to try out a few more of the tips. Now for the seashells, I am just using those little mini seashells that you get in the little glass bottles at the Dollar Tree. I like to dump mine out so that they're a little bit easier to find and craft with. And I'm just going to glue an assortment of those all the way around the little Pilgrim hat. And I thought it needed a little bit more. So I also have some of these little mini starfish. I get these on Amazon too. I have both these and the larger ones linked in my Amazon shop below. under, I think, beach essentials. And they are great for crafting because they're so little and cute. So I'm just going to kind of scatter some of those out and maybe one more seashell. I think that's what I should have on merch. Maybe one more seashell because I'm always adding one more shell a project. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal pilgrim hat. I think this is so fun. You could use this on your Thanksgiving table or just sitting anywhere around your home to give you a little festive touch for Thanksgiving. I think it turned out really sweet and it was really easy to do with just a couple items there from the Dollar Tree. And it does kind of look like a little pilgrim hat, right? But with also a little bit of a coastal flair. I really love that. For the next Thanksgiving DIY, we're going to DIY this little gather sign from the Dollar Tree. Now it's kind of cute on its own. It's got like a blue squiggly background on it, but we're going to DIY it and make it go with the rest of our fall Thanksgiving decor. Now, I was trying to figure out how I was going to get the back of it off because, as you can see, it's stapled on pretty good. They did not want this coming apart. So I tried using like a little Cricut scraper to get under there, and then I totally broke the corner off because I was really surprised how well this was attached on here. And then it's just not made out of quality material. It's made out of a thin cardboard. And then I just ripped it off and then the frame itself came apart. And I was like, oh boy, I think I didn't know how to take this apart. Maybe the front panel comes off the sides better. I don't know. But that's okay. Even if your pieces of your frame fall apart like this, you can always put it back together. The side pieces stayed on, but the top and the bottom came off. And I'm just cleaning it up by removing the staples with a pair of pliers to try to get all of the backing that was on there before off. And I mean, it's all still here, so I can put it back together if I need to. I'm also going to remove the staples here from the side pieces and clean it up. Now, they know us Dollar Tree DIYers are going to try DIYing these signs. Why would they not make that a little bit easier to take apart? You know what I mean? So trying to figure out what goes where, I'm just going to reattach with hot glue this time the top part of my gather sign. And in the end, I think it actually helped my pattern by throwing away the back of it because I do want it to kind of be a see-through piece because we're going to cover the back of it with fabric. And so I just hot glued the bottom one back on. We have it all kind of put together. I thought for a second there I had totally ruined the sign and that I was going to have to trash it. But we're going to cover it with that same white burlap. And so I'm just going to cut out a piece of it long enough. And that's what I mean by when I attach the fabric to the back, you can kind of see through it because you can see through the holes in the burlap. So it kind of gives you a cool effect. Like that. And it's going to coordinate nicely with the other DIYs that we've made today with the white burlap as well. You could totally use the tan burlap as well. I think that would be really cute too. But I was kind of going for like a little bit of ivory with these. Now I don't like the wood finish on it at all. It's just a normal brown wood. Doesn't look like a wood grain at all. So to get a wood grain, I just mix some ivory with some antique wax by Waverly, and it's going to give me like this driftwoody color. I like this. I always use this to do my driftwood, my faux driftwood. And I just distress the entire sign. As you can see, I'm leaving some of the brown showing through and a paper towel to kind of blend it in together. And then I'm going to go back in with just some straight antique wax by Waverly and distress it a little bit too, just to make sure it kind of has like, you know, all different colors of wood to kind of give it a faux wood grain. Now to attach my burlap to the back. Again, the 6-inch roll worked really well. It was a perfect size for this sign because I can always trim it down. But I want to make sure that I cover the entire back of it. So I'm going to start with hot glue instead of all those crazy staples that were in there before. And just hot glue the top seam to it and hot glue down both sides. Then we're going to do the same thing here on the bottom. And I am going to have excess fabric burlap to cut down on both sides and the bottom. But you can get like in there pretty tight. I just want to make sure that all the back of it's covered, but I don't really want any of the burlap sticking out visible from the front. And this is what it looks like now. It's got the wood grain, so I think that looks cool. And I like the ivory burlap in the back. So just very simple. You could use this. I made this specifically for Thanksgiving, but this would look great in any of your fall decor. And here is a little close-up image of our gather sign. Super sweet and fun. And I really like any of the gather or like the harvest feel items from Dollar Tree. You can really do some cute stuff with it like this. And again, you could leave it up all fall if you wanted to. Now I wanted to use like a window decal to make a wood round. I found a great one that says give thanks. So I thought I would take one of these little wood rounds from the Dollar Tree and see if we can make a fun Thanksgiving sign with this. Even though they're thin, they are still made out of wood, so they do stain beautifully. And we've done a lot of staining on our wood items today. So we're gonna go ahead and give this one the same finish. So again, just using Antique Wax by Waverly, we are gonna stain the wood round. Now, I bought a whole case of these wood rounds at dollartree.com just to make sure that I always had some. This piece is pretty flat, but maybe I've bought too many because the ones that I have now are all warped. Do you guys have any tricks to try to fix the warped Dollar Tree wood signs like this? If you do, be sure to leave me a comment down below. I love learning from you guys. I just wipe off the extra Antique Wax by Waverly with a paper towel. And then we can attach this great Give Thanks window decal. It's kind of like a dark green color, the Give Thanks. And then it's got like some fall leaves on there as well. And then to attach it, we are going to Mod Podge it on there. But first, I wanted to distress the sign. And so I just went over the whole thing with ivory. And then I'm using a baby wipe and just still working in that one direction, distressing the whole thing. The reason I did that is because I thought that the stain was too dark and that you weren't going to be able to read the Give Thanks on there. So I just wanted a lighter stain, and I had already stained it. So this is what I ended up with. I think that did make it a little bit more legible. It was just too dark. But that's a way, if you've already stained it, you can try to redeem yourself. Now, I also want to make it extra special since it's just a thin Dollar Tree sign. And I'm going to do that using some of the little wood half beads. Now, these are not from Dollar Tree. I actually get these on Amazon. I do have these linked in my Amazon shop below, and they can just really make a Dollar Tree sign special. I am just going to frame out the sign with this. Now, you could paint them or stain them. I kind of like them just raw wood like that. It's going to have two different finishes of wood. It's going to make it look, you know, give it a little bit more character. So I went ahead and lined them all up so I knew exactly how many of those I will need. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach the window decal. I am just going to use a thin coat of Mod Podge all over the sign because I want it to have like that same matte finish everywhere that you look. So not just where the decal, just go all over the entire sign. And I want it to be, you know, pretty thin because all I'm adding is the window decal. I'm going to lay the dark green Give Thanks sign on there. And, you know, using window decals is a lot quicker and easier, but you could always, you know, cut out some vinyl with your Cricut machine and kind of do the same thing. I lay it flat on there and then just go over the top of it with another coat of Mod Podge and give it a quick dry. Now, if you have any bubbling like that, a lot of times it will kind of work its way out, but I do have one of those little Cricut brayers, so I did try to smooth that out, and that definitely helped. Now, I still had a little bit of sheen, and I want to make sure that kind of blends in, becomes part of that back sign, so I go over it with a nice coat of Mod Podge again, drying that and sealing everything in. Look how beautiful that looks. Just making sure I don't have any bubbles. It's looking pretty good. And then we can go back and attach all these wood beads. I kind of got them out of the way, but I want to go ahead and line them all back up so I know exactly how many to use, so I don't end up at the end with like too much space or not enough space. And then we're just going to go in with a little dot of hot glue. It's a little bit harder with this Ryobi hot glue gun because it does shoot out a lot of hot glue. To do something, just a small dot of hot glue on this, but I'm going to try to use restraint. And I'm just going to do one dot and attaching that on there. And since these wood beads, I mean, these are, a nice size. Can't remember exactly the millimeter on these, but it's going to give the sign more depth, make it look thicker, make it look a little bit more high end. And then we're just going to do that, gluing those all the way around, framing it out. You could also use wood beads from the Dollar Tree, but I really do appreciate the half beads like that. Now I need to replace the hanger on there. So this is the original hanger that came on it. I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit here by burning off the fuzzies and reattaching that to our sign. Now I thought it was a little bit plain and maybe needed just a little bit more fall. So I decided to take some of the Dollar Tree leather leaves. These are like the oak leaves, I guess. And they match the leaves on that design. That like orangish brown color. I'm just going to cut off the plastic stems. I don't really like the way those look. And scatter those out. I can have room for one here at the top. And so I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that on by putting a little hot glue on the stem of that. And this is going to give like a way more 3D feel to this sign as well. And it's going to give it some more character. Now for the bottom, I'm going to do a couple of leaves here. Again, just doing a little hot glue. I don't want the whole thing to be glued down. I want it to kind of stick out and look like just like fall leaves. And I have room for 2 of them down here. Kind of fills up some of that empty space. It definitely gives the Thanksgiving sign a little bit more character. So it is a lighter stain than the other wood DIYs we've done today. But I'm kind of glad I did that because it makes it easier to read the give thanks on there. So just a fun way to decorate a Dollar Tree wood round using a window decal from the Dollar Tree, some faux leather leaves, and some wood half beads. And I think it turned out just lovely for Thanksgiving. And these are pretty big too. You could always use this as a wall hanging in your entryway for Thanksgiving.
I think it's really pretty.
Now, this is you can't find a whole lot of specific Thanksgiving DIY materials at Dollar Tree, but this is definitely one of them. The little thankful sign. I don't really like the way they do their hangers on here, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. It's going to kind of get in the way too as we give this a makeover. I do like the little natural wood frame, so I'm just going to tape that off with some painter's tape. And we can go in and paint this and make this look coastal. I wanted to go with like the teal and like the ivory color scheme that we've been doing and make it super beachy. It's already got this brown background though, so I am gonna have to kind of go over that darker color. Again, I mix a little turquoise with that lake blue color to give me this perfect color of teal. And then I'm going in with a brush so that I can kind of get in between all the letters of the word. I kind of wish these came separately because they can be a little bit challenging to paint, as you can see. The reason I use the brush is so that I can get in all the tops and sides of all the letters. And I also want to kind of go back and get all of the cracks in between the slats on the boards too. And just trying to get as much coverage as I can with that. I did go in with a second coat just to make sure that I got all the brown areas here that were kind of still obvious. And then we'll go in and we'll paint the thankful word a different color, but for now it just kind of has to be blue just because that's how these signs kind of work.
It's really hard to paint these really cleanly. Usually I go with a coastal farmhouse vibe, so I'm going to distress it anyway. So that does kind of hide some of your errors. I do go in with a tiny brush here though, just because the paint does kind of pull on the sides of the letters to make sure that everything's covered and we're not going to have any little piles of paint anywhere we don't want it. And I was able to get all of the grooves filled in as well. We can go ahead and remove the painter's tape and clean up any leaking. Wasn't too bad with the bleeding on that. And I really love that color on that sign. I think it's so pretty. Now for the thankful part, I want to paint that ivory. It's really going to pop against that beachy teal sign. To do that, I'm going to use just a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree and some ivory paint. Just trying to be as careful as I can. It's inevitable that you're going to kind of get some on the sign below, but I kind of just take it one section at a time and try not to push down too much with that. This is the easiest way I have found to paint these signs. If you guys have any secrets about how you paint them, be sure to let a girl know in the comments below. I always love your all's tips. I just kind of went in with a baby wipe, tried to clean up any that went anywhere it wasn't supposed to, and then went in with another coat to make sure it was nice and bright. Now I think it's already really beachy with these beautiful colors, but we're gonna add some seashells to it and make it extra coastal for Thanksgiving. But I did have lots of touching up to do. Now for the hanger, I am taking some of that twine that we were using earlier, stringing it in from the back, just tying knots on the front, and then we can go ahead and attach seashells. Again, we're going to be using the tiny little seashells from Dollar Tree. These are the ones that come in the glass bottles. I kind of want a variety of them and scatter them all over. These little tiny starfish that I use, I get these on Amazon, and I have those linked in my Amazon shop below. I love them. They go great with these little mini shells. They're all about the same scale. And just kind of scatter those all over the side, any of the areas that don't really have any letters from the thankful word. And then I'm just going to attach them. They're all pretty small. They're easy to glue down with just a couple dots of hot glue. And I love how it turned out. I think it looks so pretty in this bright blue color and super beachy for Thanksgiving. The colors on the seashell and the colors of the sign, I think, go really well together. Quick, easy DIY for your coastal Thanksgiving.
And even if you weren't doing a coastal theme, you could paint this kind of like whatever color. Super cute, a fun little decoration for Thanksgiving nonetheless. Okay, for the next DIY, I thought we would try lighting up a vase. So I picked up a Dollar Tree glass. I love this glass. It's called a highball glass. And then I picked up one of these battery operated lights that has that like plastic dome on it. I thought that I could sit this glass on there and actually light up the vase. So it's going to be a little bit different project, but I love how it turned out. It's really fun. This one takes 3 of the AA batteries. It's got a little switch to turn on and off. And I'm going to sit the glass on there to make a vase. Now for the outside of the vase, I wanted it to look like fall. So I'm using this neutral color of fall leaves and a garland. I tried it to see if I wanted to actually wrap it with the garland, but I didn't really like the look of the brown plastic that you'd be able to see, and I thought it might look better with just individual leaves. So I'm using the same garland though, and I am just going ahead and cutting them off, cutting the stem and everything off, and giving them a quick iron with my heat gun. I'm going to use 4 of these. They're rather big, big enough that that's going to fill up a lot of space on here. And I just do a dot of hot glue and attach it to the outside of this cup. I found these cups at Dollar Tree. I noticed when I was there today, they have a smaller size. They also have like a straw cup of these that's a different size as well. So you could do this in just about any size. This is like the largest one they had, but I thought it would be a perfect vase. It's very heavyweight, and I love like the fluted design on there. I think it's really cool. So I'm just hot gluing these all around, like one up, one down, kind of having them go different directions, like falling leaves falling in fall. So I think that's enough of that color leaves, but I still have a lot of the vase that kind of I think needs a little bit more. So I go ahead and just tack some of those down if they're sticking out too far, just to kind of keep them in place. And then I have some of these fall leaves left over. I'm thinking I have these left over from that Dollar Tree Plus pumpkin that I DIY'd. I'm not sure, but I liked the colors on them, and I am a crafter, so I save everything. So I'm going to mix it up. You could also use some of the loose like leaves from the Dollar Tree. They're about this size too. And I'm going to have them kind of cascading down the vase as well. Instead of putting the fall leaves in the vase for the fall floral, I really wanted to have all the leaves on the vase, and that way I can do something a little bit different with the items in the vase. But this is going to cover up kind of the stems and stuff like that, so you won't be able to see those. But it's also going to light up with that plastic base that we're going to be sitting it on. So I wanted to try it out. I did a lot of the crafting with the lights on just because it's fun, but I noticed that it is a little bit harder to see on the camera. So maybe next time I should turn them off. For the first one, greenery, I'm using the eucalyptus from the fall section. It is a green color, which I thought was pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and leave one bundle all together. Since they're just going to be kind of loose in the jar, I don't want to add any foam or anything like that because I want the light to be able to come through and light up the whole vase. I just leave them all attached, just arranging them. And then I found this Dollar Tree green floral called the Hop Bush. It's green too, so I thought this would be really pretty for kind of a neutral fall color scheme. And I just kind of flare those out. It looks really pretty. I test them out to see if they're too tall. If they are, I just go in with my wire cutters and cut them down a little bit. I thought about using flowers, but I decided to switch it up for some of the Dollar Tree wheat. I don't necessarily like their wheat. I don't think it looks really realistic, but for this project, I think it's going to work. And it has the green leaves too, so it kind of goes with the color scheme. So I add that as well. That fills it up really nicely. It lights up, so that is really cool. Now, I did think that the white plastic was a little plain, so just to soften that up and make that feel more coastal fall, I'm cutting another strip of burlap to make a little ribbon to go around it. It does have a switch on it, so I can't go all the way around, but I can just glue it on each side of the switch. That way it doesn't interfere with the operation, but it's going to give it just a little softer touch than the white plastic there at the bottom. And it shouldn't interfere with being able to change the batteries out or anything like that. I set the vase on there. It lights it all up. It's kind of hard to show you. I don't want to knock anything out, but here I can show you how it looks here in my home. This is what it looks like during the day. So it's a beautiful fall vase with the leaves cascading down the side. So even when it's not lit up, I think it's still really pretty and really festive for fall. And then this is what it looks like lit up. Really cool and creative way to use those little plastic lights. I always use the base. I never use that crystally plastic vase that comes on top because I think they work so well with Dollar Tree glassware. Really whimsical. I love that DIY.
Now on with the Thanksgiving DIYs. This one's going to be really easy. We're going to use a Dollar Tree vase and 3 packages of these little mini pumpkins and gourds. I got these at Dollar Tree today. I got like the red ones, the orange ones, and the green ones. I thought this would be really beautiful and colorful. Now to decorate the vase and make it not look so plain, I'm going to use a little burlap ribbon and one of the little leather thankful pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I picked up this burlap ribbon for $2 at Pop Shelf the other day. I really liked it because I didn't really have a burlap ribbon in this size, and I was really happy to find this. So I'm just going to cut out enough of the burlap ribbon to wrap around the wreath. And I really wanted something to glue the thankful to instead of trying to glue this to glass, because I noticed the faux leather really does not want to glue to glass very well. So I'm just going to glue it to the burlap ribbon instead. And making sure that I have it good and down, because again, the faux leather and hot glue doesn't always play nice. And I kind of made like a little strap, a little belt to wrap around the plain vase and give it a little bit of Thanksgiving touch. I'm just going to hot glue that ribbon to it. I cut enough to slightly overlap it right here in the back, gluing it to itself. And easy peasy, we have the vase decorated. And then all we're going to do is fill this up with all of those beautiful, colorful gourds. I want to kind of like alternate the colors and just fill the vase up all the way. So I kind of want to alternate the colors. So I kind of switch it up and kind of see what's going to fit so that I can get it as tightly filled as I can. As you can see, like the gourds, the pumpkins, they all have a little bit different shape. I thought you might be able to see the tag on the bottom, so I'm just going to remove that real quickly before I get any further on this. And then I'm going to continue filling this up. I want it to look super colorful, and I think these gourds are actually really pretty. I think they're painted nicely. And again, we're just kind of mixing up shapes, sizes, and colors, trying to get it as full as possible. We're not going to use all of these, but we're going to use most of them here. So I think that's probably as many as I can get in there. And that's all there is to it. Such a quick, easy Dollar Tree Thanksgiving DIY. You could sit this anywhere in your kitchen, in your living space, and it's going to bring a little dose of Thanksgiving decor. And you could leave this up all fall if you want it. I think it's going to be really pretty for Thanksgiving. I love that it says thankful. Those little leather tags are so cute. And this is how it looks. I think it's really colorful and fun. And it could not be any easier. Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to take some of these little metal candle holders from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to give them a coastal Thanksgiving makeover. We're going to add them to these little chunky wood hanging decor from Dollar Tree, and we're going to use some beachy blue long taper candles. Now for the little wood chunky pieces, I'm just going to cut the hanger off of those. And then I didn't really like the gold color on the candlestick, so I'm going to go in and paint mine a beachy color. I wanted it to kind of look like sand, and I do have this khaki colored spray paint. And I find that works the best for metal things like this. So I'm going to grab them. We're going to go outside and we're going to spray paint these real quick with one coat of spray paint. They painted really nicely and dried really quickly. Now, they have little circles on them, as you can see, and my plan is to cover the little circles with some Dollar Tree sand dollars. Now, these are from the Shore Living line too. Sometimes they're a little bit grayer than I would like, so I'm going to give mine a quick makeover first, just going over them with some ivory acrylic paint just to brighten them up, make them look like bleached sand dollars, and it's going to make them look less like plastic, which they are made out of plastic, and make them look like they're more real. So I just give them a couple of coats until I'm happy with them, and I thought these would be the perfect thing to cover the little circles on the little candle holders to make them extra coastal. Now for the bases, I wanted to make them more substantial, which is why we're going to add these little chunky circles to them. But I also want these to be decorative too, so we're going to cover these with some burlap. This is just a scrap piece of burlap that I have from the Dollar Tree, but I think it's going to be plenty to cover these. Now I noticed when I set the burlap on them, you could still see the fact that they had like hanging holes on them. And so I'm just going to go in with a little bit of Dollar Tree spackle and just simply fill those up so you can't see that through the burlap. I love crafting with these things. I think they're so versatile and fun. I'm going to go ahead and cut out a square for each one of our little circles here. And we can always cut those down to size after we glue them on. I'm just going to use a Mod Podge. And I'm going to do a nice healthy coat here to make sure that there is enough to kind of seep through the burlap and glue that on there. And I have a different plan for the edges of them. That's going to be easier than trying to cut that burlap down to size. I don't want it to fray or anything like that. Now, once I get it on there, I also went over the top of it with another coat of Mod Podge to make sure that it is super wet. So I'm using a sponge brush from the Dollar Tree, and I just kind of push that sponge down to make sure that that glue really saturates it. I dried them with my heat gun, and then I'm just going in with some super sharp fabric scissors and cutting them as close as I can to the wood, trying to still kind of get a nice circular shape. And that one looks pretty good. We're going to do the same thing here on the other one. Now we're going to attach the little metal candle holders to these. And I think burlap's a great option because it's got all the holes in it. So I'm going to be able to glue it down directly to the wood. Now for the sides, we're going to use that burlap ribbon that I got at Pop Shelf again. And it's the perfect size for the sides on this. So I'm just going to hot glue it all the way around. That way it stays nice and tight. And this burlap goes great with the Dollar Tree burlap. And it was a really fun, easy way to cover the bases of these. I don't really want any of the edges sticking out, so I just kind of make sure everything's kind of secure and tucked down in there. And then we're going to do the same thing here with our second candle holder. And I've had those little candle sticks for a couple of months, and I had no idea what to do with them. And I'm glad that I finally figured out something to DIY. I knew I could make them into something cool. On their own, they're a little small, and I thought they could be more spectacular, so that's where we're going to make them. So our bases are complete, and we're just going to sit them right on top. I think that it's going to be a really good size. But first, I think we should go ahead and attach the sand dollars. Now, the sand dollars fit in there just perfectly, barely enough room for the candle, but there is. And I actually just glue mine to the top, just kind of looking to see where it's going to be the best place to contact those. Now I want these where I can use them on the table, so I want them to be beautiful from both sides. So we're going to do a sand dollar on the front and a sand dollar on the back, just gluing them both to the metal ring, and it's basically going to cover up the entire metal ring. We're going to do the same thing here on the second one. And you can put these with sand dollars together. You can put them with sand dollars apart. You can put them on each end of your table. You can get creative with these. But it actually turned out really good, and I was really happy that I made these. I think these are going to look so great on my table for Thanksgiving. Now I do add a little extra hot glue down in between. But then I didn't really like the fact that you could kind of see the metal ring down inside. So I am going to disguise that in a minute, and I'll show you that. But at first I just decided to try to just paint the sides of the sand dollars. But I was thinking, these are going to be on my Thanksgiving table. You're definitely going to be able to see inside of those. So I actually did decide to fill in that crevice in between. And I'm really glad that I did, because I think it makes them look so much better. So to do that, I'm just going to use Dollar Tree spackle again. And just take some of it and kind of push it down. The void is not very big, but it's going to kind of give it more of a sea biscuit thickness if you're looking at it from the top. But I think it looks a lot better than being open like that and being able to see that gold ring underneath. So I just start at where the candle holder is and kind of go around anywhere that you're going to be able to see it, just kind of filling in that gap. And again, I'm really glad that I decided to do this step, because I think it made them look so much more high end. And this stuff dries pretty fast. It paints well too, so it really kind of all blends in the end. And this is why, we painted the sand dollars ivory. So once I get them dry, I did have to go in and kind of paint the spackle, the ivory color, just to make it all blend in. And doesn't that look so much better? I'm really glad I decided to fill that up. Now, once I get these all filled in and painted, then we can go ahead and start assembling our candle holder. I have the burlap base, which is going to be nice and heavy and is larger than the metal candlestick. And I'm actually just going to glue that down with hot glue. I know hot glue and metal doesn't always work great. I am going to add some extra reinforcements to this, But, you know, if you're not doing a crafting video like I was, you might have more time. You might be able to use some stronger glue. And I just kind of centered that right down onto my candle holder. And we're going to do the same thing here with our second one. So it's just a bead along the metal candle holder and lay it right on top. And again, they are going to need a little bit more reinforcement because that hot glue in the metal is not going to be too permanent, but this is what they look like so far. The khaki color that I painted the metal candlestick is not too different than the gold color they were before, but I kind of like it better like this. You could always cover yours with a little brown sand if you wanted to, because we're going to make them nice and beachy. Now for the candles, I found these great blue colored paper candles from the Dollar Tree, and I thought these would be great for like a coastal Thanksgiving theme. At first I thought about painting them with my Posca paint pen, some kind of design on there. I couldn't really think of anything that I really wanted to put on them, so I decided just to leave mine plain blue this time. They fit in here very nicely. You just kind of have to wedge them down. They don't really move around at all, which is going to make them even safer to burn. So we're just going to go ahead and put both of those in. You might want to reinforce yours a little bit before you do this because you do kind of have to add a little bit of pressure on there. But like I said, it was kind of a tight fit with the sand dollar on there, but we made it work. Now to reinforce it, I'm just going to go around the outside with a bead of hot glue. And we're also going to go back and add another layer to that so you can't really see the hot glue on there, and it's going to actually reinforce it a little bit. But I let that glue set up, and then I decided just to add a little bit of white. So the macrame cord from the Dollar Tree, we're just going to do one row of that all the way around. Hot gluing that down too, and that's going to really give something that's going to connect the metal candle holder to our burlap base. And it matches the sand dollar, so I think it's going to look nice with the color scheme on this one. Now, like I said, you could add sand to the bottom of these because we are going to decorate them a little bit more to make them a little bit more coastal with some seashells, of course. But again, just the macrame cord all the way around. I kind of did my seams on the side where it'd be a little bit less noticeable. And this is what they look like so far. I think they're looking nice and fun and really sturdy. Now for the seashells, we're going to use these little shells that you get in the glass bottles at the Dollar Tree. I kind of want a variety of different shells, but kind of going with our color scheme of the white and tan and kind of alternate them so they're kind of like mirror images of each other. That way, when you're looking at them, they'll have different shells on them. And I'm just going to hot glue those down. That's why I was saying if you wanted to add a little bit of sand to these, you totally could. I thought about it, but I kind of wanted the cleanness of just the metal top on them like that to be on my kitchen table. And I just secure them all with hot glue, and this DIY is complete. I think we took those little metal candlestick holders from the Dollar Tree and made them really beachy and fun for Thanksgiving. And I love the color of those candles. I think that's the first time I've seen them in that color. It definitely goes with the color scheme that we're using today.
And this is what they look like kind of opposing each other. I kind of went back and forth about which way I wanted them to be, but I really think I like them like this, especially on a table.
Okay, next DIY, I picked up one of these felt sunflowers from the Dollar Tree. I always love these, but I don't really know what to do with them, and I had a great idea for this one. So I'm going to show you how I use it. I don't like the glitter side, so I plan on using the back. And I thought if we did like a Dollar Tree wood round sign in the middle, that could cover up the glitter part there, and we could build a really fun like sunflower wall hanging. So the hanger is kind of in the way on this wood round from the Dollar Tree, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. But otherwise, it's the perfect size to go in the middle of the sunflower. Like that. I like the white frame of it. I think I can leave that. I think that will be fine. But to cover like the middle part of the sunflower, I have something planned for that as well. So it's just a matter of attaching this. It does have a thick round frame that goes around the edge. So if you're careful, you can't just staple the felt flower to the back of that. And try your best to like keep it right on that rim so it doesn't go all the way through. So that's what we have so far for our sunflower wall hanging. I also want to make a hanger on the back, so I might as well just go ahead and do it now. I just take some Dollar Tree twine, tie a simple knot, and then we can just staple that onto the back of the sign as well. And then to cover like the middle of the sunflower part, I found some brown like washcloths from the kitchen aisle at Dollar Tree. And I thought we could do like a fun design in there. I like to DIY with unexpected materials from the Dollar Tree sometime. And this is no exception. Now they're scrubbing washcloths. So see the inside texture has like that net on it. I think that looks really cool and kind of like symbolize, you know, the inside of a sunflower with like sunflower seeds. And it's going to be the perfect size too. So I just need one. It comes in a 2-pack. And it's just a matter of cutting it down to size. I needed to fit inside that little round frame. It was a little tricky to mark this out though. So I just turned it over and used a Sharpie and tried to like feel where the frame was. And I am going to border it out so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I did find it a little tricky to try to keep it like down and mark that out. And so the way I'm going to use it, this like top part of the washcloth is actually going to be down, but it's going to be under that like mesh net material, so you won't even know it. But I'm just going to cut that down to size. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to border it out. It did shed a little bit there when I cut that material. So we'll have to attach the washcloth part first. That's going to be like our brown background color. And I do like the fact too that it has that grid. I think that looks kind of cool. I was trying to decide which way I was going to do it. And I decided to use it upside down because I did kind of have a little bit of Sharpie on the other side. And you're not going to be able to see it in the end. To attach it, it's kind of thick, so I thought some of the tacky glue from Dollar Tree would be great. So I just put like a thick coat of that down and just lay the little washcloth right on top. And again, I know it's not perfect, but we are going to frame that out so you won't be able to see like the edges of my circle. Circles are hard, y'all. And then I do hot glue all the way around the top part here so I can start gluing the mesh on. And then I'm going to go in and do the same thing here for the bottom. Now to frame it out, you could use like Dollar Tree rope. That will look really cute too. But I found some of this great like mesh tube from the Dollar Tree in this brown color. Very similar color to the rope. That's why I think either one would work well. But I found this, so I thought we could use this for our little sunflower. So it's just the mesh tube. It's all rolled up. So it's going to fill that little void there between our center and the frame. So I just hot glue that all the way around. Now, I was trying to decide, once I got it on there, I thought it was really pretty and a great use for these little felt sunflowers, you know, that I never really know what to do with if I'm not using them for like party decor. So I do decide to decorate it a little bit after I get this on there, because even though it's really pretty and it's really interesting with that like mesh in the middle, I thought it was a little bit plain. I thought we could take it up a notch. So I got that mesh tube glued all the way around, and then I thought, sunflowers. Now see how they have different kinds of sunflowers at the Dollar Tree? This one is like a little bit more orange than the others, and so I think that's going to match the felt sunflower a little bit better. So I'm just going to use like 3 just to make a little decoration on part of this. Just to add a little bit more fun. So I was trying to decide if I wanted to do like the left bottom quadrant like that, or if I wanted to do it over on the right side. I decided I ended up liking on the right side better, but either way, I think it looks really cute, and it just adds another little bit of fun to our little sunflower wall hanging. And you could totally use this as a wreath for your front door too, if you wanted, or this would be a great sign to hang around your house. The colors are so bright and fun. And so I just hot glue the little sunflowers, just trimming the stems a little bit to make them fit a little bit closer to that wood round. And the wood round really gives the whole project, you know, the shape and the sturdiness that you're not going to get from that felt flower that was behind it. So here it is, our giant sunflower. I think that washcloth material looks great for the center part of it. And it's just a really fun little idea. My first idea was to use like some stained wood beads for that part. That I think would be really cute too. It would require a lot of them though if you're going to fill up a sunflower of this size.
And I think this would be really pretty for Thanksgiving, but really for all fall as well.
Okay, the next DIY, we're going to use one of these wood round signs from the fall section at Dollar Tree. This one has like a bump out pumpkin on it and 2 etched pumpkins on it, but plenty of room for decorating. So I thought it would be a great use for some of the fall stencils from Dollar Tree. So I am just going to stain the entire wood round with some antique wax by Waverly. I did have to switch to a brush to kind of get in all of the back areas of the little pumpkin design and make sure I get all of the unfinished wood stained. And I love that it brings out like the wood grain and this beautiful wood round. It really gives it a lot of character. And we're just going to do a really fun Thanksgiving hand-painted sign with this, but I think that the stain sign is going to give us a great start. I wipe off any of the excess with a baby wipe. I don't want it to be too dark because I still want to see the pumpkin etchings through. And I can use this for a guide to paint them. I thought the easiest way to paint these would be to use paint pens. And so I'm going to use my red Posca paint pens. I love these things. Sometimes I get these on Amazon, but I think I got this multicolor set at Target. They're a little bit pricier than some paint pens, but man, they work incredible. I'll have to make sure that these are linked in my Amazon shop too, in case you're interested in them. I love them because look how easily they painted over the stain. I use these to paint candles, all kinds of fun things. So I wanted to do traditional fall colors, so we've already done the brown. So I did one color in red, one pumpkin in red, and one pumpkin in yellow. Just kind of sketching out the lines that I could see through the stain first, and then going back with my paint pen and filling everything in. Now it's a little bright so far, the colors, but we're going to kind of stain it some more and kind of dull down the colors a little bit. Now for the pumpkin in between, I'm just using pumpkin color, so an orange acrylic, and I'm just being careful and using a tiny brush because I don't want to get any paint on the pumpkin behind it. I just want to get like the pumpkin frame here, if you will. And I think the yellow pumpkin, the orange pumpkin, and the red pumpkin go really nicely together and really represent the colors for Thanksgiving. Just a few more areas here, and I think that looks pretty good. Now, I wanted to kind of clean these up a little bit, and I thought outlining them would help. I'm using a Sharpie. This is actually like a bronze color, but it's really close to the Antique Wax by Waverly, and that's kind of what I was going for, just to kind of outline everything and clean it up a little bit. And I think that gave it a little bit of detail, nothing too drastic though. And I love using a combination of paint pens and Sharpies because the Sharpies work really well for stuff like that. Now here's the stencil we're going to use. These came in a 2-pack from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to use the one that says Thankful and Blessed. It also has like the acorn and pumpkin design at the top, but we don't have enough room for that, so we're just going to use the Thankful and Blessed. Now I want to continue the same color scheme, so I'm going to use my paint pens again. And I'm just using my paint pen on the stencil. I'm going to do the word thankful in red. And it was a little tricky trying to get in all these areas and try not to get any bleeding. And then I'm going to switch it up and do yellow for the blessed. And for the and. Now, I don't know why that the and bled, but the blessed didn't. I don't know why. And then I'm going to do this part of the ribbon in red as well to kind of mix it up. And this is what it looks like so far. I'm going to kind of clean up the end because, again, I said I had a little bit of bleeding on that one. And I'm just trying to take off any of the excess paint. I can always go back and touch it up. Now, I didn't think it was very legible, so I thought it would be way easier to read if I outlined it. So again, I'm using Posca paint pens and I'm using white this time. And we're just going to go over and we're going to outline all of the letters here and really make like this thankful word pop. This DIY, it took many turns. You'll see here in a minute. You know, when you're working on a DIY and you're just not super happy with it, that totally happened to me on this sign. But in the end, I got to where I wanted. I also went ahead and traced out like the little ribbon to make that pop. Then I thought it would be really nice to go around the edges of this little pumpkin pop out with the white too, and really make that pop too. Just doing all of the edges with the white paint pen, trying my best not to get it on my pumpkin below. And just outlining it with the white like that just really makes it pop from the sign. Now, I like the white, but I also want it to be, you know, a little bit distressed and stained. So I go over all of that I just added with some more of the antique wax by Waverly to kind of tone everything down. I'm also going to do that on top of our bright yellow and red pumpkins too. Again, toning it down. We're going to make a new hanger here. I just use a little bit of Dollar Tree twine. A good tip I have is I always hot glue the ends. It makes stringing it through way easier. And I always like to tie them in the front. So I'm just going to wrap that around, make a hanger for a little thankful and blessed. Then to frame it out, I thought I would use some of these little dot stickers from the Dollar Tree. I don't have a lot of room to frame it out, but I think we can make these work. They come in these long strips like this, which makes them really easy because they also have adhesive on them as well. I'm going to start right here on the pumpkin. I can't go all the way around there on the bottom because there's just not enough room with that pumpkin there, but I'll show you what I do to kind of cover that area up in the final project. So I'm just going to string these one by one, trying to push them down. They are pretty sticky. If you're going to use yours outdoors though, you might want to add some extra glue or hot glue to these because they might not stay on. And I go all the way around the circle as least as much as I can. And they were green, so I decided to add some green leaves down here to the bottom. Now, I told you that this project took many directions, and so I end up not leaving the green leaves on there, but I'm still going to show you kind of where we went. So these are the lamb's ear leaves from the leaves from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of trim them up and arrange them here at the bottom of the pumpkin. I kind of wanted to look like a kind of a pumpkin patch and to kind of match my green border that we did. And then I'm going to cut off some of those berries from that berry garland to kind of finish off my leaves there by adding some orange and red. Just hot gluing those right in the center of our leaves. So I always like to show you the whole project so you know when I actually change my mind on stuff too. And you can see what goes wrong and what goes right. One thing I didn't like was the yellow. I thought this was really hard to read. So I just updated the word blessed with my white paint pen. And then I went back and distressed them over so lightly with the Antique Wax by Waverly to kind of make it blend in with everything else. That's when I realized I wasn't really digging the green on this project. I really kind of wanted to stick to more Thanksgiving Day colors. And so I went ahead and just popped those off with a little heat. And then I thought we could use some more of that wheat that I got at the grocery store to finish off the bottom. And I think that's going to look really natural. I picked 2 smaller ones and 2 larger ones. And we can kind of make it kind of overlap the bottom of the pumpkin and kind of come up like this. So I'm just gluing it to that pumpkin frame and to the sign itself. And it filled in that area at the bottom of the sign nicely. Now, I think that looks good, but then I wasn't that happy with the green beads that we used around. But you know what? You can always paint those too. So I'm going to mix a couple of colors together to try to get that wheat color. I use my golden sunset in my antique parchment, and then I just use a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to go over and distress all of those little beads that we put all the way around the edges. And that's pretty much going to take away the green that I wasn't really feeling on this DIY. So I'm trying to just distress the little stickers and not so much the sign. And I'm going over that green color, so it is going to require a couple coats of the ivory to kind of make that pop. And I like it now. So this is how it turned out, our little hand-painted thankful and blessed sign. If you have the stencils and you have one of these signs, hopefully this gives you some fun crafting inspiration. I'm glad I switched it up. I really like the wheat on here a lot more than I did the leaves. Okay, the next DIY, check out these acorns and thankful sign that I found at Dollar Tree the other day. Never seen these before. I think they're so pretty. They're strung up on a little jute twine. And then I'm going to combine it with a little mini tobacco basket. I got this for $3 at Pop Shelf as well. It's the first time I've been to that store. I found one in the next town over and I was a big fan of it. For $3, I think this is super cute, right? So I do want it to hang on the wall. And so I'm going to just make a quick little hanger with some twine and loop it and tie and knot. And we can just attach that to the back of the little tobacco basket. It's nice and small, so I don't think it's going to be super easy or super heavy to hang. So I'm just going to attach that to one of the little cross rows here with hot glue and kind of centering that on the back of it. And then I thought that the little acorns and that little thankful leaf would be so cute inside. Such an easy way to decorate it. I do add extra hot glue there to reinforce that, and then I let that sit until it's set up. We're going to flip it over and just kind of lay our little acorns in here. I'm going to leave it all attached. I think it looks so cute like this, and it fits perfectly in this little basket. Thankful is going to be kind of sideways, but I kind of like the vibe. And then we're just going to start gluing the pieces down individually. So this is my little green acorn. And I'm just making sure that I have that good and attached. Just holding it down with the hot glue because it's going to be hanging on the wall. I don't want this falling off. I think that these acorns and this little sign are so pretty. They really don't need anything. I think the colors are great. The finish is great. No glitter or anything like that. And then I'm going to glue this one down almost straight here in the middle of the little tobacco basket. Have you guys been to any of the Pop Shelf stores? I didn't get a lot of stuff there, but I did get a few items like this that I was really happy with. I noticed they have dollar items and stuff like you would find at the Dollar Tree, but they also have more expensive items too, so it's kind of a mix. Everything's beautiful though. And I just glued all 3 pieces down, leaving all of the rope just to kind of do what it wants to do there. So again, another really easy Thanksgiving DIY. And I think it's so cute. And it really looks high end. See the painting on the acorns, how nicely that's painted with like the gold distressing on the acorn cap. So cute. And I love that little basket. I've always wanted one of those, and this is kind of a mini one. This is how it looks hanging up.
And now let's DIY a tier tray for Thanksgiving. This is my 2-tier tray that I got on Amazon, and I want to decorate it for a traditional Thanksgiving. For this one, I'm going to start with a little mini banner for the front of the tier tray because I think that is so cute. So I just have some orange felt that I have from the Dollar Tree and some of their adhesive cork. I think that kind of looks like a cooked pie crust. And so I'm going to use that for the crust part of it, just leaving the sticky back on the back. So I just need to cut out little slices of pie. I always like to try to do odd numbers when I'm doing a little banner of any kind. And so I think I can fit about 5 on here. This is a 2-tier tray that I'm decorating, and I'm going to be hanging this on the top tier of it. I've done a larger version of this before for my coffee bar, so I thought it'd be cute to do a little mini pumpkin pie pennant banner. So it's just a matter of cutting them out. I just kind of sketched them out with a ruler and tried to cut off the Sharpie part. I did notice one of my slices of pie was a little bit smaller than the other ones. So I will fix that before I attach that to the cork. But super easy to do. If you don't have any felt, there's some other items from the Dollar Tree that kind of look a little bit like the pumpkin pie. There's the automotive cloths that are about this color. And actually, I found some really cool, like, crushed velvet at Dollar Tree the other day that was this color as well. So I'm going to attach these. Now, I didn't want to use hot glue because I didn't want it to go through the felt and be visible. So I used school glue. I did try to like let it sit up and dry, and they just kind of kept falling off. So I don't think school glue is quite strong enough for this. I did have to go back and reinforce all of them. And I used some of the tacky glue from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, and it held way better, and you still can't see it through the front like you would be able to with hot glue, kind of can soak through the fabric a little bit sometimes. So as you can see, I am just cutting them out, leaving the crust on the very end of them. As you can see, they were kind of falling apart on me. And then this is the twine I'm going to use for the mini pennant banner. I always just attach it with a little hot glue on each side of my tier tray when I decorate one of them. And I just left the backing again on the adhesive cork, and I'm just going to glue the twine to it, just kind of spacing it out a little bit as I go. And then we can attach this to the tier tray and we can get decorating. This first tier tray, I think, is probably the easiest one that we did today. It really only took me about 30 minutes, I think. So for the whipped cream, can't forget that. I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree's little caulk mastic from the hardware section and do a little dollop of faux whipped cream on each one of our pumpkin pie slices, and we can just attach it. Like I said, I just do a little dot of hot glue. It's easy enough to get off there when I want to clean that off. Now for the ring on the top of the tier tray, I thought I would decorate it as well. I found one of these like little doorknob charms, I guess they are, from the Dollar Tree that had like pine cones and a bell that was shaped like an acorn. So I thought that was really cute. It's all attached just by kind of like hot glue, and I really only want the little hanging pieces, so I can like just tie them onto the top of the tier tray itself. So I just used a little heat to melt that glue and pulled them all off. Super cute, and saves you a lot of step from having to attach the little eye hooks to these and the twine and everything like that, and a really good value for $1.25. I think that is my favorite, the acorn. Though we are going to be using a lot of acorns in this tier tray. I really love acorns for Thanksgiving, so I just tied all 3 of those to the top. Now for the next DIY, I picked up one of the little turkey wood boxes from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to give this a very simple DIY. Staining these boxes, I think, is a little bit easier than trying to paint them. So I'm just going to use some Antique Wax by Waverly and go over the entire turkey with that, wiping off the excess stain with a baby wipe so it's not too dark and it kind of lets me blend around. The inside of these boxes are kind of small, so it's a little hard to get into. I'm just going to stain the areas where I think you'll be able to see it, but I'm not going to do any staining on the inside of the box. I don't think that's really necessary. And the baby wipe also helps to kind of spread the stain around for any of those like little nooks and crannies that you need to get some stain on. So I just did all the sides, and we're just going to use this as like a little planter box. I picked up some actual real wheat at the grocery store just because I think it's prettier than the faux wheat from the Dollar Tree, but you could use that one too if that's all that you can find. But look how gorgeous this is. I think it's so pretty. I think I got this at Trader Joe's when I was down visiting my son at college. But I am just going to cut some pieces down. I cut it pretty short because the box is pretty short, but I want it to be overflowing with wheat, kind of resembles like turkey feathers a little bit too, you know, sticking out from the top of the turkey. But I think this is going to be really cute on my Thanksgiving tier tray this year. So I'm going to put it right back here. It's kind of tall, and you'll be able to see the little turkey back there. Now for the next item, I just picked up a Dollar Tree gourd. Super simple. I don't have to do anything to this. It'll stand up on its own too. So I'm going to kind of put that in the back for a little bit of height back there. Now for a sign for the front, I actually found this at the Target dollar spot for $1. Them and Dollar General is also a good resource to find things for $1. So actually 25 cents cheaper than the Dollar Tree, right? I just cut the hanger off of it. This is pumpkin pie, baked fresh daily. And I'm actually just going to lean that up against the pole there in the top of my tier tray. And I didn't really know. I think I'm going to have to rearrange the pine cones a little bit because it was blocking the sign a little bit. So I didn't really want that to happen. I want you to be able to read it. So I just kind of move those around a little bit. The next item I got at the Dollar Tree this year, a little thankful acorn. So it's got thankful written in leather. It's so cute. I didn't have to do anything to it. And I love that it's a different shade of wood than I've been using for the other projects. And that's going to finish off the top of this Thanksgiving tier tray. The next item is this great little acorn dish that I also got at the Dollar Tree this year. I think it's really cute. I love the brown colors. And I'm also going to incorporate one of the little Dollar Tree straw bales. I can put some pumpkins on this. It's going to give it a fun fall touch, and I think it's perfect for harvest or Thanksgiving. And I had so much fun putting this together. I'm so glad I didn't skip Thanksgiving for my tier tray because it looks so cute. It really reminds me that we still have Thanksgiving coming up and it's not all about Christmas, right? So I'm just going to kind of arrange these back here, our little hay bale, and I'm just going to kind of stand the acorn kind of up like that. Now, of course, I need a turkey for a Thanksgiving tier tray. I picked this one up at Target from their party section, not the Dollar Tree, but it was really cute. It wasn't very expensive. I think I picked it up at Target last year, and I think he's really cute. I'm going to put him right here in the front. If you have trouble finding a turkey, Goodwill is a great place to find them, but I like the fact that he's plush. I think he's super cute, and the fall colors are really cute. Now for the hay bale, I'm just going to take some of the little pumpkins from the Dollar Tree that have the little clips on the bottom. They're the perfect size for this. I'm just going to pop the clips off the bottom, stack one on top of the hay bale, and like one right next to it. Now, my next Thanksgiving find, I found this at Target Dollar Spot this year. I was so excited to find it. It's a cornucopia for only $5. So it's kind of a medium size, but I think it's going to fit well on the bottom of my tier tray. And I'm just going to fill it up with the Dollar Tree, like mixed gourds. They have these in different colors. I picked up like every color, just mixing them all together. They're like little pumpkins, little gourds, perfect for a cornucopia. And you can't get much easier than that, right? I can't believe the cornucopia was already made and only $5. And the great thing about it, it's going to fill up this entire side. I just have to do a little maneuvering to get it in there on my tier tray. And this is my 2-tier tray that I picked up on Amazon. I love these. I think I have a linked in my Amazon shop as well. I have one in white too. I love them. They're so great to decorate with. But let me give you a little look around this Thanksgiving tier tray before we move on to the next one. I love the little details. It's got all the traditional Thanksgiving items like the pumpkin pie, the cornucopia, the gourds, the turkeys. I love the addition of the acorns. I think that's really cute for fall. And let me tell you, this was so easy to put together. And I just really love how it turned out. You can get lucky with like traditional things like pumpkin pie if you can find anything that says thankful. The turkeys, if you can't find one at Target Dollar Spot, they do have cute little turkeys at Dollar Tree this year too that are kind of similar. Now up next, we're going to be doing a fall tier tray. My theme for this one is green and orange, and this is going in my kitchen.
Okay, the next tier tray, we're actually going to put it together. This is a tier tray that I have in my Amazon shop listed below. I love the rectangular tier trays, and this one is great because it's white. And it's distressed, so it goes great with like coastal farmhouse. I wanted to show you how easy it is to put these together. I've bought a couple of these off Amazon. They're not too expensive, and I think it's easier better quality than trying to make them myself, because I always love a big tier tray because I can fit some larger items on it. So that's all there is to it. You just have to follow the directions, put the pieces on in order, and screw the nut on the bottom, and we have a tier tray. This one I bought for my kitchen. It works perfect on my kitchen counter. I can kind of sit it over in the corner. And that is what we are decorating today for a fall tier tray. Okay, this is the lamb's ear that I get at Walmart. I used to get it there before Dollar Tree started carrying it, and this is the garland that I just cut down into 4 pieces to make it easier to decorate a tier tray with. And so we're just going to use those nice large pieces of the lamb's ear to get us started on the top tier. Again, we're going to use one of these little hay bales. I always pick these up from the Dollar Tree every year because they are so great for tier trays. They are just the perfect size. But as you can see, they are super messy. I put down a cutting board first, so that would be really easy to take that to the trash can. And that's going to give us some height here in the back of the tier tray. And this tier tray is sitting here on my kitchen counter right here in the corner. Now, these little pumpkins I got for $1 a piece at Target. I got like some pumpkins and a gourd. And I got these last year or 2 gourds. I got these last year at Target Dollar Spot. I'm not sure if I've seen them this year, but they're really pretty. I also got this like little mint green one. And we're just going to kind of pile some pumpkins around. Pumpkins sitting up on the hay bale, a smaller one here in front. And then these are from the Target Dollar Spot for $1. They're so cute. And I love like the straw-like texture on that one. We're going to pile those up top. Next item is a little pie tray that says Happy Fall from the Dollar Tree. The colors are perfect. My theme on this one, I wanted to do a lot of the orange and the mint green or blue pumpkins and make it really pretty. This is also from the Target Dollar Spot, a little Hello Fall sign that I got there last year for $1. And the color is perfect. I don't even have to make the sign. We're going to put that right here in front on the top of the tier tray. And these are we're going to use the rest of these little ones that I got at Target. The colors are perfect. I didn't have to paint anything. And then I picked up these little orange burlap pumpkins from Dollar Tree. And I love the burlap on those. I think those are really pretty. So very easy filler for a tier tray. And I don't really appreciate the plastic stems, but we'll make it work. And then I also got some Dollar Tree acorns because we were going for that general kind of fall theme. And I thought these would make great filler as well. And I like these better than the wood ones because you don't have to paint them, and that is just a step saved. So let's fill up the top of the tier tray with some of those little burlap pumpkins and acorns. Make sure that it is nice and full. And that's what I mean about these fall tier trays being easy. A lot of these items are already available. And remember the lamb's ear, we're going to use more of that down here on the bottom tier. I really appreciate a 2-tier tier tray because they're really so simple to decorate. The 3 tiers take a little bit more crafting. Now, this is a little creamer that I got at Dollar Tree. I wanted to show you how easy it is to remove the paint on there. I don't really want mine to have the little rooster on there, so I just use some fingernail polish remover and a paper towel and wipe off the paint. Then I can decorate it however I want. I love these little creamers, and since this tier tray is going in my kitchen, I think a little creamer is perfect. Just a little bit of elbow grease to remove all of the paint. And then for a very easy DIY on that, I'm actually just going to use a window cling to decorate that. And Dollar Tree has some really great ones. And the one I'm going to use for this one, I think, is this little gourd one. It's a perfect size. The colors are perfect for what we're going for today. And I definitely like the little white creamer for this. I wanted everything to be very whites, the oranges, the blues, the straw colors. Really reminds me of fall. Now, I just went ahead and put it on there on its own, and it didn't want to stick too well, so I took a baby wipe to get it a little bit wet, the ceramic, and then it stuck on there way better because I just wanted a very temporary solution on there so that I could always reuse this creamer for another tier tray. We're going to put this one right down here on the side. Super cute. And I also have some more of these. I have this gourd left from Target Dollar Spot. We're going to kind of sit that one there next to it, which kind of matches it. Now for the next DIY, I'm going to use one of these little wood bins, I guess, from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to remove the little metal label holder on this. And then it's super easy to make this into a custom sign. It's going to stand up nicely. And we're just going to decorate the back or the bottom, I guess, of the little bin. But first, I just have to remove all the labels and stuff that's on there. Sometimes you definitely have to use some Goo Gone if you get a little bit of goo back there. And clean this up and we can make a fun little sign. So I'm going to start with some ivory acrylic and just paint that sign. It's going to give me kind of a blank canvas. And then I'm just going to make a really easy little fall sign using a decal, a window decal from the Dollar Tree. Whenever I see them in shapes like this with the squares and the rectangles, it is perfect. Look how many small signs you can make with just one sheet of window cling. So this one says Hello Autumn. I like the orange color. And it fits perfectly on this size of bin. So you can definitely use these little bins for signs. They definitely have thick sides, so they're going to stand up nicely. I just do a thin coat of Mod Podge and lay my little window cling on there, making sure that I smooth it out with dry fingers. And while it's still wet, you can kind of reposition it to get out any bubbles or anything like that. You can always use a scraper too if you need to. And then I'm just gonna Mod Podge over the top of it. That's gonna help seal it on, but it's also gonna take away the shininess of the window cling. So I dried it and went on with a second coat. And there is our little custom Hello Autumn sign with the wood sides. So cute. And I wasn't sure if you were gonna be able to see it. So I'm just gonna boost mine up with one of those little Jenga blocks from Five Below so that you can see it back here in the back of the bottom of the tier tray. Now the next DIY, I picked these little dollar signs up on clearance at Target Dollar Spot. So I usually get them for like 50 cents or so, but I love them because they're super tiny and sometimes it's hard to find a really tiny sign. Now I'm just gonna paint over whatever was on there, hot coffee or something like that. And I'm just doing that with white acrylic too. And we're gonna make another super easy little custom sign for our fall tier tray. Again, a layer of Mod Podge first. And then I can just peel and stick the little window decal that I want right on the front. And for this one, I thought we would do the greenish color. So this one says sweater weather and pumpkin spice, please. It's a tiny bit too big, but no big deal. You can always just trim them down to size and smooth that out. And we have another super easy little custom sign. I always seal them though with Mod Podge because I don't want that shiny plastic feel of the decal for sure. And I don't want them falling off. And I love how like that mint green color and the oranges work really well with this, especially on a white tier tray. It really makes them pop. I just used a sanding block to cut off any of the excess window decal that was kind of sticking off the sides on that one. And super cute. I don't know if it's sweater weather here in Florida, but I can pretend, right? We like to always travel for the fall so that we can see the leaves turning somewhere. I also found this cute little cutting board for $1 at Target Dollar Spot that says carve pumpkins, drink coffee. What was the last thing it said? And then I'm going to boost that up with one of those little blocks as well, kind of hiding those underneath the lamb's ear. So they're not super obvious. Oh, it says enjoy fall. Perfect. Now this is going to be a very easy little Dollar Tree candle makeover. I found like a little tiny mint green jar candle from the Dollar Tree. And I am just going to peel the sticker off the front. And then we are just going to make our own little custom candle by cutting down one of the decals. If you find that they're too big, you can always just cut them down to whatever you want. I'm just going to cut out this little square here because it had this great little circle of like pumpkins and gourds in it. And I really just want the circle. I kind of wanted to look like a little stamp for the front of the candle. And since it's a glass candle and this is a window decal, all you have to do is peel and stick this on the candle. Super easy. So even if your decals are way too big, you can always use pieces of them just like this. And it's such a faster way to DIY than having to make your own for sure. So I just smoothed that on the front. The color is perfect. And I love these little jar candles. I think they're so cute. I'm going to put this one right here in front of the little cutting board sign. And then I also got this little, is it a pumpkin or an apple? Sign from the Target dollar spot for $1. And I just took the tag off the back and I thought we'd use these great rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree to decorate it. The colors are perfect for what we were going for. The blue or the green, white, and orange pumpkins. And I thought this little 3 pumpkins would be great. I just peel and stick this on this little blank sign. I think it's actually an apple, but that's okay. It had the perfect mint green sides, so I thought it would work well for this. Maybe it'll look like a pumpkin now that we're adding a pumpkin to it, right? And as you can see, this tier tray was so easy to put together too, with just some items from the Dollar Tree and the Dollar Spot. Don't sleep on the Dollar Spot. Sometimes they have stuff cheaper than the Dollar Tree, like this one. Super cute and easy. And we're just going to put that in the front because he's kind of a little guy right there. And then I also got this pumpkin. I love this green pumpkin at the Target dollar spot for $3. It's that same like raffia wrapped, but it's like dyed this like mint green color. And it's got like a twine pumpkin stem. So cute. And I'm going to put that little find right over here to fill out the bottom of the tier tray. Trying to move everything around so that I can make sure that I can see it. We're going to use some of those vine balls this time, the ones that are in tan from the Dollar Tree, for a little filler on this one as well. The color works perfectly. Just kind of pile those around anywhere where I think we might need one. And then some more of the burlap pumpkins that we used for filler on the top. I'm going to kind of scatter those around the tier tray as well. I hope you're getting lots of fun crafting inspiration for your fall tier tray in today's video. Now, I also decided to use some of these little burlap pumpkins from the Dollar Tree by removing the clips on the bottom of them. And I think maybe I need one right about here. Pumpkins are perfect for fall filler because it totally goes with your theme and they come in all different sizes. And then remember, we also had the acorns that we used for filler on the top. We are going to use those for fillers here on the bottom too, just sprinkling those kind of all over. They're nice and small. And this is how it turned out, our fall tier tray for the kitchen.
I think it turned out really sweet. I love the combination of the soft green, like a minty green color, together with that like muted orange color. I think it turned out really pretty. And you know, you can just use some quick things like the window decals at Dollar Tree or Dollar General or wherever you can pick them up, and just plain signs, candles, different things. You can put things together. And this would be really cute for all of fall, including Thanksgiving. So I wanted to give you a couple of options for tier tray DIYs, but I think this one turned out really sweet. I think the white tier tray makes everything kind of pop against it too, but it was so simple to do. I love that little cutting board up there. I think that's so sweet. But really fun, lots of pumpkins and gourds for fall. My son used to be obsessed with gourds when he was younger. He thought they were so neat. Okay, now that takes us all the way to our final reveal. I really hope you enjoyed these 40 DIYs today. Please let me know which DIYs were your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. I love reading your comments. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. And this QR code is a link if you would like to buy me a coffee. Enjoy the final reveal.
If I'm lost along the way, if I wander off onto a different trail, will you forgive me if I fail when I'm lost and derailed? If I cry when I'm blue, if I cry alone when I am with you, will you forgive me if I do? If I cry when I'm blue, through wind and through rain, through trouble and pain, if ever my heart strains, will you pull me through like you always do when I am calling your name? When I am calling your name. If I'm wrong when you are right, if I'm only seeing things in black and white, will you forgive me tonight? If I'm wrong and you're right, through wind and through rain, through trouble and pain, if ever my heart strains, will you pull me through like you always do when I am calling your name? Through wind and through rain, through trouble and pain, if ever my heart strains, will you pull me through like you always do when I am calling your name? When I am calling your name. If I'm lost along the way, if you find me in a state of disarray, will you hold on another day? If I'm lost along the way, if I'm lost along the way. Well, the morning came, you said it will. You said the bad will go away, but I'm feeling it still. I think I need to get out of this bed and go out for a walk to clear my head. I suppose that I'll be better off alone. We'll be just fine on my own. Used to call you home, but now I'm just addressed unknown. Just throw away my favorite sweater, go on and burn my stupid letters, and box up all my things outside your door, 'cause I don't live there anymore. 'Cause I don't live
so much for making it all the way to the end of today's Thanksgiving crafting marathon. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you so much to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marion Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, Red Mama, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, and our newest member, James Osborne. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you would also like to become a Crafty Beach Web member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your phone or your computer. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. We would also love to see what you've been crafting. Make sure to share your DIYs with us in our private Facebook group, always linked in the description of the video, as well as chapters or any printables or links that you might need. Now, if you would like even more crafting inspiration, be sure to check out one of these Dollar Tree DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting!